Now, our university is restricting free speech, the practice of no platforming, where individuals are banned from speaking on campus. Well, these practices aren't new, but there have been reports that an increasing number of people and activities are being restricted over questions of sexuality, race and gender. Jenny Kumar has been back to university to find out more.
University, a place for debating, challenging ideas and analysing different viewpoints. But campuses also strive to be places where all students feel safe and able to get involved without judgment and intimidation. It seems these two ideas are causing conflict on campus. There's growing concern that some student unions are becoming increasingly restrictive as they try to balance allowing free speech with protecting different groups. There's been a number of high-profile incidents recently, like one union banning Mexican hats from a freshers' fair for being racist, and some unions have banned cross-dressing for fun.
What really gets me is that
here at Queen Mary, University of London, the Free Speech Society isn't happy that a vote has resulted in a ban on The Sun, the Daily Mail and the Daily Express being sold at union-run shops here.
Why shouldn't students be able to kind of purchase them on campus and discuss the ideas and challenge them if they don't like them or if they do find them kind of distasteful? We should have that debate and have those discussions, but banning them or banning the sale of them doesn't help that in any way at all.
The student union tell me there's no one available to do an interview today, but they have just emailed me a statement and they say this is a commercial boycott and the union should not tolerate hateful discourse in its venues, including in the publications they sell. But questions have also been raised about student unions banning certain speakers. 6 groups aren't allowed a platform on campuses because of their extremist views. But recent decisions to exclude some high-profile individuals have caused a stir. Feminist writer Julie Bindel was barred from speaking at Manchester University's union. They said her views on trans people would incite hatred. And a National Union of Student representative refused to share a platform with gay rights activist Peter Tatchell, accusing him of racism and transphobia.
Your party's long history of anti-Semitism, homophobia and attacks on the Muslim community.
When you've got a massive platform in the media elsewhere suggesting that your freedom of speech has been curtailed by not being invited at a students' union event sounds a bit ridiculous. In fact, students are exercising their freedom of speech by calling out and disagreeing with certain views.
But last October, police were called to the University College London when things got heated, as pro-Palestinian supporters protested about a former Israeli soldier's talk. A university report found individuals planned to stop the event and created an intimidating atmosphere. This week, Baroness Deach called on the government to write to university authorities, urging them to make sure that their self-governing, democratically elected student unions allow free speech.
Universities need to act promptly when the law is broken and deal with the offending students quickly. Otherwise, the students will go down, it will be the end of term, and the situation will not be dealt with.
Baroness Deach says she's considering putting forward an amendment to the Higher Education Bill to strengthen free speech at universities, but the government insists there are already sufficient laws in place.
We're joined now by the author and journalist Kaite Welsh. Welcome to the programme. Recent free speech rankings survey by Spite said that 94% of UK universities have censored free speech in the past year. Some have no-platformed people like Germaine Greer, Roger Scruton, and a human rights activist called Miriam Namazi. Are you happy with that?
I don't believe it's censorship. I believe that freedom of speech is also freedom to accept the consequences of that speech. And if that means that certain institutions don't want to promote or give you a platform to say these things, then you have to accept that.
Really?
Yes, I do.
That's not curtailing freedom of speech?
No, I don't think it is.
Well,
people like Germaine Greer.
But you've just taken away the freedom of these people to speak at the university.
They can speak wherever they like, but freedom of speech is not freedom to be invited wherever you want.
What's the point of a university if you don't allow a variety of views to be expressed?
A variety of views, that's absolutely fine.
Clearly not if you're Germaine Greer.
I think if students are being asked to pay increasingly higher fees, and I think that if they object to people like Germaine Greer, Julie Bindel, Milo Yiannopoulos, being given frequently pretty hefty speaking fees themselves and be given a platform at their university, then I think they have a right.
Julie Bindel doesn't take fees for that. Julie Bindel does not take fees, and she has worked for 30 years raising awareness of violence against women and done so, thanklessly. And for her to be barred from universities simply because she has a different view to you or some of the people in that university about transgender issues is a disgrace, as it is with Peter Tatchell.
I think...
Hold on. Let
to say that they're getting
back.
money for it's absolutely legal.
Kate Welsh.
I think Julie Bindel has done some fantastic things for women's issues. I will not decry that. I do believe that she has frequently incited hatred against transgender people, and that puts...
But she hasn't. She's defended transgendered people. I've heard her do it. She's done it to me. I've spoken to her about it. She's defended transgender people where all she does is cleave to the notion, which is actually a scientific fact, whether you like it or not, which is that someone who has transitioned from a man to a woman is still technically, essentially, if you wish to call it, essentially a man.
The issue is not what is right or wrong here. The issue is, shouldn't you be able to hear the views on both sides of the argument? And you can't if you ban people. I mean, the Lincoln University, a student union, it banned the University Conservative Association from social media because the association had pointed out that the university had a low ranking when it came to free speech. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
I don't think that's on the same par as criticising who's being invited to speak at universities, or to say that a democratically elected student union preferring not to sell papers like the Daily Mail.
But why would you do it at all?
Why are you scared?
I'm not remotely scared.
Well, I know, but isn't a university exactly the place where there should be this cross-fertilisation of ideas, of political opinions, a breadth of informed opinion, of contentious opinion, of things which you might find difficult to accept, and things which I might find difficult to accept? That's what we should have at universities. Surely that's the point of it.
But freedom of speech and freedom of expression for minority groups has traditionally been oppressed or made difficult to access by people who criticise their ability to exist, like Julie Bindel with trans people, Milo Yiannopoulos.
She doesn't criticise their ability to exist.
No, we've been around that.
We've been around that.
Yeah. The principal at issue here is not the rights or the wrongs of any of these issues. It is that the university, if you're lucky enough to get to one, is one of the few times in your life when you can go along and hear every view under the sun. But in fact, what is happening now is that views are being channeled into a very narrow tunnel. And if you're outside of that with your views, you don't get in.
I think it's a very exciting time to be a student right now. I graduated 10 years ago. We didn't. The progressive movement that's flowering now was really only in bud then. But I think students are turning around and saying no to bigotry and no to hate speech.
Well, they can go along to meetings and say that.
It's only a minority who are doing that. It's the minority in the students' unions who are doing that. And I speak as someone with a kid who's at university who says, actually, all this rubbish, this idiocy, this politically correct nonsense has no purchase whatsoever amongst a wider student body. It has a purchase only amongst the perennially active, amongst the political groups within there. And don't forget as well,
generally
Andrew,
people from oppressed groups. Please remember that.
Universities
have always been a safe space for straight white men. What we're seeing now is an increase of levelling the playing field for other voices to be heard.
So
and that will mean removing the platform from one person and giving it to somebody else.
City University.
A gay woman, you remove it from a gay woman.
City University in London, which runs a well-known journalism course, voted to ban the Daily Mail, the Sun and the Express. What's the point of that? You don't have to read these papers. Why would you ban them?
When you're on a journalism course, that's fabulous.
I think Daily Mail and journalism don't always go hand in hand.
No, that's your view. That's just your view. That doesn't give you the right to vote for banning
their
them.
Students from buying it anywhere else. They're saying in this specific
campus, where people are studying journalism. I mean, if you don't like Daily Mail journalism, I perfectly understand that. Journalists should know what, in your view, is bad journalism.
It's a commercial boycott. It's perfectly acceptable.
You have to remember as well, Andrew, that it's not just the students. There was the Adam Smith Institute report recently, which suggested that I think it was 85% of university lecturers tended to the left, were liberals, tended to the left.
Sure, but that's always been the case. That's regularly
always been the case.
Pretty much.
Back in the 60s, they did this comparison. It was something like 60%. So it's still a majority, but nothing like the hegemony within those universities now is all from this sort of left, liberal, censorious, intolerant and authoritarian...
Well, that's your view, I suppose, as well.
Well, yes, I just said it.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of viewpoints,
Yes,
that isn't
yes.
generally accepted by everyone, that is the view at universities.
Right.
Oh, well,
Welsh, thank
the
you.
left-wing
We
view
need
is.
to move on. Thank you very
Thank you very
much for
much.
being with us.